Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Engineer Sam Wasabi. So in this video, we're going to continue from where we ended. This is our MSM or Mathematics Revision playlist. Alright, so in this question, we've been taught to solve the equation. So before we begin, do not forget to like and subscribe. Okay, so the question says solve the equation that is at hand. So we're having 2 to the x minus 2. My minus doesn't minus pops. So I have 2 to the x minus 2 to the power 2 minus x. Then the whole of this is equal to negative 3. Alright, so I want you to just remember something. Back in the days, you learned this bad boy, indices. Now, indices just gave you a shortcut of how many times you can repeatedly multiply the base by itself. If I have a raised to b, then my a is the base and b is the power. This notation is called the index notation. Now, I want you to also remember that under indices you had some rules, or laws rather. The first one told you to say that if I have the same bases being multiplied by one another, say a being multiplied a, provided that the powers are different or it could be the same, let's say I have n, then m, or n and n, it implies that I'll end up having a to the power n plus m. So if I have, say, for example, I have maybe a, let's say use a number 4 to, let's say, 1 minus x. This is the same as 1 having 4 to the power 1 times 4 to the minus x. Other than that, other rules you came across were rules that stated that if you have a to the minus n, this is equivalent to 1 over a to the n. This portion here is a negative index, while this portion here is a positive one. So with these in mind, let us try to see how we can approach the question we have. Now, I can find means of applying the same laws of indices throughout. I'm having 2 to the x, then minus. So I can just open a bracket and say this is 2 to the power 2 times 2 to the minus x, like that. And all of this is equal to negative 3. But again, having negative indices won't satisfy my need. So I have to make sure that my negative index is made positive. But 2 to the power 4 can be simplified. We can make it 4. 2 to the power 2 is 2 times 2. The number of times the base being repeatedly multiplied by itself. Just remember from what I said. And this is multiplied by 1 over 2 to the x. And this is equal to negative 3. So we know that the scalar, which is the number here, in math, will always just have an effect on the 1. Please don't be that smart person to say, oh, since I'm having 4 times 1 over 2 to the x, 2 there, 1, 2 there, 2. Please, don't do that drama. Please, I beg of you. If you feel like doing that, just after you clear your course, then you can do that back home. But now, I want you to understand this. You cannot do that. Just to clear up some things. Okay, so 2 to the x, then minus 4 times 1 is like 4 over 2 to the x being equal to negative 3. Now, if you look at this equation, it's quite crazy to solve it the way it is. So now, what's the best approach we can do? So what we can do is to look at something that doesn't make sense in this equation. Like, if you look at it properly, like just looking at it, you'd find that you have 4 negative 3, but there's something that doesn't make sense here. You have 2 to the power x. Honestly, what am I supposed to do with that? So now, in math, whenever you come across such a condition, always make it, to make more sense in your head. So I'll let this thing that doesn't make sense to me, 2 to the x, be equal to any letter of my choice other than x. Most books will use p, others will use m, others n. In my choice, in my case, I will use y. Because why not? It's just y. So whenever there is 2 to the power x, pawns f here, everywhere. So wherever I have that, I will put y. So I'm going to have y minus 4 over y being equal to negative 3. I know most of us don't really like, okay, I don't know. I don't like seeing things at the bottom in math. I don't know. I'm not saying it scares me, but I just don't like it. So the best thing we can do is to eliminate the bottom values. But how can we do that, guys? Like, how can we do that? Does anyone have an idea? All right, so I guess everybody knows how we can do that. Others can actually say just 1 over 1, sorry, like y over 1, and then look for the common denominator, that should be y, then do the cross multiplication, all that. But all you can do as well is just multiply the entire equation by y. Yeah, like the bottom value, that will eliminate everything. And this implies that you end up having y times y, because it's like y affecting that guy. So you're going to have like y squared, then like when y goes there, you have 4y. But since it's over y will cancel out with y, and now just have minus 4. And this will be equal to negative 3 affected by y as well. Yep, I thought it would hide. But anyway, that will be equal to negative 3y. Then after that, I'll look at it and be like, okay, what is this? What is this trying to tell me? So I have 1y squared, I have like a 3, negative 3y, then I have a constant. So this is safe to say that this bad boy here, star, is a quadratic equation. So you have y squared, and I can take this 3. Yeah, I can take this 3 this side. It will cross the equal sign. I don't know how. I don't even know how it jumps. But my Zambian people always say negative 3 will jump the other side. Yes, I don't know how, but let's just agree to disagree that it will jump. But this will be plus 3y, and then it will be like minus 4. And this will be equal to what? 0. For the sake of education, it doesn't jump. It's like you are finding the additive inverse. Yes, hope that's clear. All right, so now, because I do not have enough space on the screen, I'll erase this information, but I hope it doesn't get erased from your head. Okay, so I'm having this guy here. So what can I do with this guy? So I can try and find the values of y. Okay, let's apply the sum and product technique. This is like one of our favorite guy now. So this would, the sum is 3, the product is negative 4. Now, what are the factors? What numbers are those? Maybe let me try 2 and 2. So give me 2, 2, that's 4. Okay, that won't work. That was just a joke. Okay, so now assume that we know the factors, isn't it? So it's like 1 and 4 itself. So one of these guys should be negative. So I'll put 1 to be negative so that I can get a positive 3 when I sum it up. So, if you get those factors, do that method that you like. You can always get those values, but I'm going to do my method. Remember, so long as the leading term has a coefficient of 1, you have y minus 1, then y plus what? 4, and this is equal to what? 0. So I'm having something like y minus 1. Okay, let me just enclose that. Is equal to 0. So I'm having something like y being equal to 1 as the first value of y. And then the second value of y is like y plus 4 is equal to 0. So like y is equal to negative 4. So that's what y is equal to. So now I want you to get this right. Remember, initially we did let 2 to the x be equal to y. So you solving for y doesn't necessarily mean that you have solved the equation or you have solved literally everything needed. Not really, you haven't. So remember, if 2 to the x is equal to y, then what are the values of x? Sorry, the values of y that I have? Because I'm trying to look for the values of x. So basically, when you reach this point, all you just do is to apply the indices laws. Make sure that the bases balance out. Like, what base do you have here? 2, yes. Then the other side I have 1, but I can make it 2 from that. Let's see what we can do. 2 to the x being equal to what? 2. But what power can I put to 2 such that if I evaluate it, I'll get my 1? Exactly, it's 0, right? So that's 0. Then you can just cancel this and that and drop the powers. Therefore, x is equal to what? 0. Now, how do I know that this value of x holds true? If I get this 0, boom, I left it, so we start running away, scrubbing everything, plug it there, and also there. So if I plug my x in all the x's in my original question, I have to get the value that I have this side. So x is 0. So 2 to the power 0, isn't it? If I put 0 there, 2 to the power 0 is 1, but 2 to the power 2 is 4. Then 1 minus 4 is negative 3. So it's true. Then again, we have 2 to the x be equal to the other value. We have negative what? 4. Because this is where it gets really interesting. If at all I was applying logs, there's no having a negative log won't make sense. In most cases, we don't follow that procedure. But for the sake of humanity and the world at large, I want you to understand that if at all I had to apply logs, there's a point whereby that negative will go back on top. Yes, just believe it will go back on top. So let's see. So I have 2 to the x being equal to negative of 2. What power can I put to 2 such that if I evaluate I get 4, I can say 2 like that. Then again, remember, I just have to cancel out these guys and I have x being equal to, trust me, if I applied logs here, this guy would have gone there. But I just want you to understand how to solve this question, from an indice point of view. So x is equal to what? Negative 2. So now, is this even correct? Let's see. If I get negative 2, I plug it there. If I get negative 2, okay, so that would be like 2 times negative 2 being equal, minus 2 times 2 minus 2, which will be a plus rather now, which will be to the power 4. So I'll be like 1 over 2 to the 2, then like minus 2 to the 4, then I have like 1 over 4, then minus like 2 times 2 is 4 times 2, 8 times 2, 16. So I have like 16 over 1. Okay, so because 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. So that's the case. If I look for my common denominator, which would be 4, I'll be having like 1 minus, if you say like 4 times 16, you end up having something like 64, like that. Yeah. And then if you say 1 minus 64, you get 63. And even if you divide it by that guy, it will not give you a value that satisfies our equation. Now, this just tells you to say that whenever you have a negative case here, then the entire scenario here will hold to be undefined. This means that we only have one value of x. X is just equal to 0. If at all we had other values rather than this, x would have held true for that condition that is there. So which means that therefore x is just equal to what? 0. Okay, so now I want you to understand something. Maybe, just maybe. Okay, I have an idea. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do this. Because I'm 100% sure, like I was saying in the previous videos, at first glance, these things might be a bit tricky, might be tedious, you might be demoralized, you might think, no, these things are very difficult. But again, if you just practice and watch the videos over and over again, trust me, you'll get the hang of it. So now I want us to solve another problem so that I can make you understand of what I mean. Okay, so imagine if I had something else, like say I have 2 to the x, 2 to the power 2, then plus 2 to the power 1 minus x, and this is equal to positive 3, like that. So what will happen here is this. I will first reconstruct this equation. I'll say, okay, I can evaluate 2 to the 2 because that is like 4. Okay, and then it should be like plus, then it should be like 2 to the power 1 times 2 to the minus x, and this is equal to what? 3. Okay, so yeah, it wasn't 2 to the power 2, it was 2 to the power x, because it felt like a dumb question when having 2 to the power 2. So it's like that. That's what it was supposed to be. Sorry for the syntax error. Okay, so we take it like that. So we'll have it like this. I hope no one is in a state of a powerful. Okay, so we're going to have 2 to the x plus 2 over 2 to the x, because I've just converted this guy to a positive guy. And then this is equal to what? 3. So I've reached that stage where things were not making sense. So now let's try and let 2 to the x equal to y. So we'll be having something like y plus 2 to the y being equal to what? 3. Multiplied by what? Y. And you have y squared plus 2 being equal to 3y. Then you have y squared minus 3y plus 2 is equal to what? 0. I hope you have gotten what I've done. Alright, after that, we can solve for y. We know that we have y squared minus 3y plus 2 is equal to 0. Sum and product. The sum is negative 3, the product is 2. What are these numbers? Negative 1 and negative 2. So you have y minus 1 and y minus 2 is equal to 0. So y is equal to 1. And then again, y is equal to 2. Remember, initially, it's 2 to the x being equal to y. The first y is 1. So 2 to the x is equal to 2 to the 0. Cancels that. X is equal to what? 0. Found the first x. If I get 0 plug there, I have 2 to the 0 is 1. 2 to the 0, 2 to the 1 minus 0, that's like 2 to the 1. It's like 2 plus 1 is 3. Again, if I do 2 to the x being equal to 2, remember 2, without anything without the power has 1. Cancels. You have x being equal to what? 1. So I put 1 there, I have 2 to the 1 to give me like 2. Then again, I have 2 to the 1 minus 1, which is 0. So like anything with power 0 is 1. So I end up having like a 1 here. Then I have like 2 plus 1 giving me 3. Which means that these hold true, that they are the values of x that we need in question. So that's what I meant when I said, okay, if it's negative, don't really solve anything. It will not work out. It will not work out. So if this was like negative 2, nope, it's just to let it be. You just have one value. But if it's positive, you can always solve. All right, thanks for watching. This is Engineer Hussein Mosapi. If you have queries, you can always reach me on WhatsApp on the line 077 149 5252. Remember, guys, slow progress is better than no progress. And that's strategize before becoming a statistic. Let's try and push for that A+.